Sorry.
Yeah, go ahead, Thomas.
Eric, if you don't mind me asking, how are you approaching the races? Obviously, being such a tight circuit with such competitive lap times in it, you're going to have people all over your back for the whole race. So, how are you sort of approaching that defensive drive for yourself?
I mean, if you start on pole and it's like everything is in the start, and if you get a good start on a track like this, I think you just need to put fast laps in and hope that the other ones will paddle. And I think then I might be able to pull away, but yeah, so that's the plan, I think.
Yeah, indeed. Good luck.
Thank you.
I think Thomas is going to be to get away, and once he gets a lead, he's a very difficult man to catch, is Eric Axelsson. But you've got different company, Eric. It's Chris Blake, isn't it, in P2?
Yes. He's been really fast throughout practice, so I think he had a faster lap in me in practice. Andy Carroll, I think, was the fastest out of everyone. Oliver and Jack, of course, always fast. Chris, Scott. So yeah, many fast drivers behind me. So it will be tough.
Have you done many competitions here before?
Say again?
Have you done many races on Norisring before?
No, only once. I think we did it in with VRRC.
Okay.
Can't remember what cars really. Front-wheel drives, touring cars, I think.
Okay, so it's slightly different for everybody really coming into this weekend. I normally try and get the chance to have a look at previous results from the VRRC server, but I didn't get a chance to do that. I've only had 2 weeks to prepare, which is a bit naughty. No excuse for me, I'm afraid, but
and not been on here much, so feel a little bit rusty tonight.
yeah, could probably do without that on such a tight track, to be perfectly honest. We're joined by Thomas Merritt. Thomas will be coming up with a question, I'm sure, at some point as well. But I wanted to sort of touch base with you about your racing CV, which is pretty mega because it's got some stuff that I love on it. Formula Ford, you raced them, but prior to that, you're a bike racer as well. So karting as well. Have you switched about? I haven't got my head around the timeline. So what's the timeline for your racing?
So karting from 11 years old up until I think Formula Ford was about 17, 18.
Right.
I was doing that. And that went on a while, a few years, and we had some tests in some Formula Renaults at the time, but unfortunately financials didn't allow us to continue. So the racing completely stopped for a few years, and I actually just did my motorbike license for riding on the road, and then started doing a few track days with some of my dad's buddies, and sort of did all right at that. So a couple of years of that, and then decided, actually my wife's suggestion of being on track days and not many people passing me. What do you do after track days? And I said, well, you could go racing. She's, oh, you fancy racing? And in my wildest dreams, I'd never thought I'd ever race a bike. And but yeah, 3 months later, we was at a grid at Brands Hatch, and we won the rookie championship first year out, and it's a real good experience. And then I've had a couple of kids come along, and so that sort of stopped. But my growing up, my dad raced short circuits and some classic touring car stuff, and a bucket list for him was always to do something together. So we bought ourselves an old E36 BMW and did some endurance racing, sort of short endurance and racing together, and that was really great. Is to do something with your dad and also have my kids there. Part of it. It's a real family thing. So and that's sort of where we ended up back in the cars. And then sort of dad had sort of realised he was getting old and slow. So we went to the BMW Championship and just did some sprint racing there. So yeah, it's been a bit varied over the years. But
what's Dad's name?
Jeff.
I'm sure I've seen him race. What did he race on the short ovals?
So growing up, he was doing hot rods at Arena Essex, and
right, that's right.
Yeah, so he always reminds us all that he was British champion, and so he's still got the magazines with him on the front cover when he had hair and skinny. So he flashes that around every now and then and reminds everybody.
Mega star. Well, and it's an obvious question, but hopefully you don't mind me asking, is what was it like moving from car racing to bikes and then back? What are the things that get to you the most about that?
There's nothing more exhilarating than being on a grid with 45 other bikes. Is one thing I'd say. It's that's an adrenaline rush that nothing, it comes close. But it's everything's transferable. Once you've got a bit of racing experience and racecraft, that you can swap it about from different disciplines.
Okay, cool. Thank you for that. We're running out of time very quickly. Did you want to give your sponsors a quick shout?
Yeah, I'd give a shout out to Rob at City Plumbing Heating. He'd be listening. His little grandson Jude, who's my biggest fan. I see him every week. He's been allowed to stay up to listen to this. My two kids are probably sitting up the house. They've been allowed to stay up and listen to it as well. So hello to Hadley and Ava, and and anyone else who's listening. My dad's probably listening, so he'd probably tell me off when I get off of here for calling him old, bald and fat.
That's all of us, mate. Particularly in the upper echelons of commentary. It's why we have the youngsters like Thomas to balance it out. I'll let you crack on with the race because we've only got a few seconds before we go racing. Thank you very much, Lee Pearcey, for joining with us. And as I say, we could have done a much longer chat, which is one of the reasons why I do video chats every now and again, just to try and dig a little bit deeper. I haven't had the chance to do that for a while, but the cars are on the grid. We're ready for the first race, and the lighting sequence. So how quickly is today passing? How quickly is Eric Axelsson going to get off the line? Let's have a look. It's lights out and away we go here at Norisring for the first race of the second half of the BMW M3 campaign, and he makes a great start, but it's 4 wide behind. This is super stuff, but now watch as they go hard on the brakes into turn 2. Axelsson's pole position was absolutely crucial there, Thomas.
Yeah, lots of bumping and boring in that first corner, but Eric managed to get nice away, avoid all that chaos and carnage behind, and got away really well. So hopefully now he can just get his head down for 15 minutes and hopefully create a bit of an easier race for himself.
Yeah, that absolutely spot on. He got what he needed to do. Chris Blakey from P2 as well. I thought he was going to get mugged, but he didn't. He hung on to it. But now they're all having a go and lining up to have a go at him, with Scott Bugner going on the inside run as he goes into the closing turn of the opening lap, and Scott Bugner up into second position. Chris Blakey down to third. Oliver Gibson is in fourth place. Where we're talking about Lee's dad, Jeff, and his short circuit racing. This is probably as close as we're going to get to it here. And Blakey's having a look now on the inside run to try and get second position back. If this is indicative of the racing we're going to get over the course of the evening, we're in for an absolute treat. As Scott Bugner goes very deep into the turn. He's going to try and get the cut back, or is he? We've got Lee Pearcey up into fifth place, but Eric Axelsson. Now, your question to Eric was about, how you're going to feel about the pressure behind you. Eric's doing what Eric likes to do, just get away from that pole position, and he'll be doing it on his own pace, but he'll also be keen, also not keen, he'll also be delighted to see the squabble behind him.
Yeah, no, brilliant start from Axel. The fact that they're all battling behind him should allow him to get away. Chris is under a lot of pressure here, but hopefully he can withstand that, and he's only got 13 minutes to do it. So not much pressure for Chris, but a lot at the same time. So yeah, hopefully we can keep it clean, and Eric's loving this at the moment.
Yeah, this is what he does so well. Eric won the feature race at Sachsenring, our first event, won the middle race at Hockenheim, but hasn't won since then. So he'd be keen to get back onto the top step, and from qualifying form, he's looking very, very good indeed. And that opening lap freneticism has just calmed down a little bit now, and they're all going to start to get into their stride. So it's Axelsen, Blakey and Bugner, with Oliver Gibson, the championship leader, in fourth. Jack Smith back in sixth place at the moment, and Lee Pearcey glances the wall there in fifth place. So Lee's made up very good ground on the opening tours, but won't have done himself any favours with the glance on the wall. Track limits, of course, will be the wall here. The other thing that drivers have been told about at the briefing, I didn't go to the briefing, but Rich Hayden was telling us that there is the likelihood we're going to get blue flags, particularly when we get into the feature race, the longer feature race. So blue flags will be an issue to allow the faster drivers to take a decent line to make their way through the traffic as leaders. But Axelsen's still there. Chris Blakey coming under pressure from Scott Bugner, who has held second and will be keen to get back into P2 and have a little stab at the race leader. Fastest lap of the race at the moment is with Andy Carroll down in seventh place. He's got the speed, but at the moment he's going to have to worry about trying to catch up with those in front of him and pass. And passing is going to be a premium, I think, here.
Yeah, 100%. You've only really got two safe places to do it, and then others are a risky move, but are doable. But this hairpin and the first hairpin are the main overtaking spots for the drivers here tonight. So yeah, it'll be interesting coming off of an extremely fast straight to see how they judge those moves, but I'm sure we'll see a lot of it.
Yeah, I think we will. This is obviously, we were talking about junior racing earlier on, and Alicia getting her move up into the Formula One Academy. We'll go here. So let's have a look. This is Jack Smith coming under pressure, and Andy Carroll having a look, trying to use that extra speed. I'll go to what I was going to talk about. I know you're doing stuff in the GT world as well, so maybe tell our viewers a little bit about that.
Yeah, so at the beginning of the year, I was accepted by FF Course, the first year program for them as part of their FF Course GT Driver Academy. So they've basically helped me this year develop in myself and as a driver through media training with Louise Goodman, driver training on race weekends, at the track, or via phone calls and messages from Phil Bennett, who's such a prestigious driver and has helped me a lot this season. And then driver training with iZone, and then fitness with Gridshark. So they've really helped me all round this year, and it's something hopefully we can be a part of next season. As next season I turn 16, and the whole world of motorsport will open up to me, so I'll have those options next year.
Absolutely brilliant. I'll tell you what, they've chosen so well, because it's been a real pleasure to work with you on the Junior Championship this year, to have you in the paddock. And so nice to have youngsters that, you know, make the effort to come up and talk and chat. It builds the relationships with us, you know, in the commentary position. And it means we can do things like invite you to get involved with this as well. And, you know, this will be your first step. I'm sure you'll get the chance to do plenty of other commentaries as well. But how would DTM grab you? So we've spoken a little bit about GT, but would DTM be something you'd like to do?
100%. I mean, modern DTM at the moment is almost sort of turning into GTs, but I think the heyday of these BMWs are just, they're mega. And you can see here the racing they're producing is absolutely awesome. You see in the background there's a little squabble going on there side by side into turn one.
There's a really good battle going on. So Josh Martin involved in this one with Daniel Heaps going through on the inside. And Daniel and Josh certainly had some great racing last time out. Daniel Heaps, who, if we get the chance, if we can get him up onto the podium, we'll ask him whether he's been out doing his drifting training as well. Daniel, one of 3 teenagers in our racing, and it's quite a character, is Daniel as well. It was great to chat to him last week. First time I'd got to talk to him on his race podium. We missed out on his maiden one because I was up doing the Fiesta Scholarship at Blyton. When we had Reeve Taylor doing the honours with Henry Foote, one of your racing rivals. I think Henry's back with us later in the year. I'm going to put you on the spot here. What are your thoughts on Henry Foote?
He's been my teammate this season. We've had quite a few squabbles on the circuit, but all of them have been clean and fair. And he's a lovely person to have in the team. He's super confident in everything he does, and I'm I'm privileged to have him as a teammate and know him, and I wish him good luck in his future endeavours.
Nice one. Yeah, I'm not sure what he's going to be up to next year. I know the family are looking at, but like yourself, he's another great lad, and you know, it's lovely to get the chance to work with him and yourself on these racing commentaries. So Scott Bugner, we're focusing on at the moment. Eric Axelsen, the leader from Chris Blakey. Chris has got fastest lap as well. Just having a quick look at see if anyone's got Christian Gillian's got a medium tyre on, according to the screen, as has Thomas Potter, so they're probably sussing things out for later on when we have the mandatory tyre change in the feature race of the day, in car with Andy Carroll, Josh Martin in behind him. We're looking ahead at Jack Smith, second in the championship, so Jack in turn is chasing Lee Pearcey. Lee has a best finish so far, 5th in race 2 of the opening event of the season. So on board with Jack now at the back of Lee, see if he can get through. You can see how tight this is, and makes the move there on the inside. Was that a slight mistake from Lee exiting the chicane?
Yeah, I think he's just clipped the inside Armco barrier there, which has obviously compromised his exit. And he's suffering from it. Lost 2 positions there, but great from Jack to sort of take advantage of that, and now hopefully push on for some better results.
Yeah, that's the thing here, isn't it? A little mistake, you've got to be there to pounce. It's exactly what Jack Smith did. Gets him up to 5th position, so he's following his brother now, Oliver Gibson. Oliver in 4th place. If you look back from Andy Carroll, still want to say Adam Carroll, the XF3 driver and GC driver, but we'll try and exorcise that as best we can. Eric Axelsen still out front. Eric now with the fastest lap, Thomas, so he's settled into a bit of a groove. We've seen 3 different drivers setting fastest laps over the course of this one so far. We've got 5 minutes remaining, but Eric's really got into a groove. He's got clear track, settling in nicely, fastest lap. What's the gap, Eric? To about 1.8 seconds, so relatively comfortable at the moment, as Scott Bugner again challenges Chris Blakey for that second position, manages to go through with a bit of contact. We know how the judicials go on this. We have Rich Hayden, the clerk of the course, will be looking at all of the various bits of contact. I don't think there's anything malicious that we've seen so far, but even so, a non-malicious move can get penalised, and these two are literally at it hammer and tongs at the moment.
Yeah, no, that was a great move from Scott. I think Chris got a little sideways on the exit, which just sort of fired the car into Scott's side. But I think overall that was a clean move from Scott, and but I don't think Chris is going to give it up that easy. I think these last 5 minutes will be quite entertaining for us to watch.
Yeah, I think you're right. Chris Blakey then last time's driver of the round and winner of the feature race, so we know he's got the pace to be up front and also to be race winning, as has Scott Bugner. And Scott really impressing us here. He said he's more of a front-wheel drive man, Scott Bugner, races in the MG 170s, and so certainly no slouch in the real world as well as the world of sim racing. But he, I think, surprised himself. He hasn't really surprised me, because he's a great peddler on track now. And here is the move, just a little bit of a gap. And is that going to be enough to make the position here? Chris Blakey down the inside. That was a lovely move, very well timed by Chris Blakey to get it back into second position. And Scott Bugner's got all the work to do once again.
Yeah, no, that was a great move from Chris, and that's the margins you can't leave around this circuit. It was the slightest of gaps, but Chris was there to pounce on it, and that was a great move. But I don't think it's over, because Scott's literally staring at his rear end at the moment.
They're slowing each other up as well, aren't they? The gap's gone out to 2.8 seconds. And of course, it's going to bring Oliver Gibson into the mix as well, the championship leader. He's going to be snapping away at them. So, okay, what's Oliver's mindset going to be here? Is he going to want to get involved? Is he going to try and sit and consolidate 4th place points, or is he going to attack? What do you reckon?
I think it would be smart for him to back off, but I think, no racing driver wants to back off, so I think he'll have to play it quite smart, because obviously every point counts in this championship. But yeah, I think at the rate these guys are going, hopefully he'll be able to just pounce on a mistake, maybe, as we see there, just Chris running a little bit wide on the exit. So yeah, this is playing very nicely into Eric's hand, but also for Oliver's hand. He's just trying to suss out a move at the moment.
Oliver with the heaviest car on track, so he's really got some pace. And another little glance of the wall there for Chris Blakey. Not going to do him any favours. I just love the way this is. Look at the glint of the headlights now, and here he comes on the outside run. So it's Scott Bugner having a go here. It flicks over to the inside as they come into turn 7, the left-hander, and he's got the move done. That was a great move by Scott Bugner. He's got the inside through turn 8 as they come now down across the grid lines and complete another lap. He'll have P2 in the book as you go across the line, but what sort of a run is Chris Blakey going to get here? Is he going to be able to get the outside? It's going to be very brave if he can hang on to the outside line here at the hairpin. Might go for the switchback, but it's a short run. He's going to go for the switchback, but it's a very short run down towards the chicane, and Scott Bugner hangs on to P2, and now Chris Blakey has got Oliver Gibson all over the back of him. So actually he's got a bit of a breather for a moment, such as a breather might be on this short track.
Yeah, you just saw Scott going a little deep into turn 1 there, but was able to fend it off on the exit, which was really nice. And Oliver is setting up for those nice exits, but unfortunately just with that little bit of extra weight, can't quite get the move because all of the overtaking points are off the long straight, so he hasn't quite got that gap close enough to be able to go for those moves. But yeah, awesome racing what we're seeing here.
It is very good way to get our evening underway. 1 minute 39 of this first race of round 5 of the championship to go. And we ride with Chris Blakey. Is he going to be able to get second position back? He's done it once already. Too far down the road, 3.4 seconds down on the race leader. He's going to have another go here at the number 7 car of Scott Bugner. Can't do anything about him at the moment. Scott's just got that run and seems to be hanging on to it into the right-hander first part of the chicane. No time before they have to then turn left and onto the Zeppelinstrasse, the straight which leads them round into the right-hand curve, turn 6, such as it is a turn, and then down towards the chicane. Now we've got a challenge on here from Jack Smith down the inside of Oliver Gibson. So Jack Smith up into 4th place. We thought Oliver was going to be the challenger, but Jack Smith has gone up, and that is crucial championship points for us. Only a single point between the two brothers in the championship. We've got 39 seconds on the clock, and Oliver Gibson's going to try and fight back now. Rich Hayden, our race director here, having a little bit of a problem into knowing where to direct, because we've got battles on absolutely everywhere. They're still side by side, and it's Jack Smith with now 4th position. We've got Carroll coming up as well. Andy Carroll coming up into the mix, not too far behind. Two brothers still very much side by side. Oliver Gibson trying to get back into the mix here. Is he going to be able to do anything? The 45 car of Oliver Gibson, they're side by side again, but Jack Smith hangs on to the position with Scott Bugner still in P2. The clock has run down now, so Eric Axelsson will be heading towards the checkered flag and a 3rd win of the campaign potentially as we go briefly on board, looking back from Eric, who comes out of turn 7 and heads down towards the virtual checkered flag here at Norisring to take the first win of the day from pole position. He's still got fastest lap as well. Scott Bugner takes P2. Chris Blakey is in 3rd place. That completes our podium from Jack Smith, who nabbed that late 4th position from Oliver Gibson. Then Andy Carroll from Josh Martin in 7th. Lee Piercy holding a good strong race to take 8th position. Adam Lyle trying to, I think the air brakes that were coming on there, opening doors either side maybe to slow him down. He finishes in 9th place. 10th goes to Andy Dorman from Daniel Heaps and Paul Laramie in 12th. I think that will be our front row for the first reverse grid race. Christian Gillen just missing out on a reverse pole from John Jones and Alex Walker. Thomas Potter in 16th from Olivia Krishnovska. Then Sam Wharton and Harry Ormerod completing our finishers. And we'll have a podium interview for you, or 2, or maybe 3 after this break. Thanks, Thomas. Good job enjoying it.
Yeah, it's really good fun actually. I'm just going to quickly pop to the loo. I'll be back in 2 secs.
No worries, mate. All okay, Rich? Great.
Ja, danke. Give me that warm, man. Hey, testing the BMW 40.
Good way to start the day.
My office is normally bloody cold and I've got a heat lamp. For the first time today, I've had to take my jumper off. So, oh, bacon.
Welcome to our virtual podium, and we're going to do this in reverse order as we normally do. Chris Blakey takes third position. Chris, P2 for a lot of the time. You lost it, then you got it back, and then Scott came back past you. But a fascinating race to watch. Did you enjoy that?
I did enjoy that, even though I lost the place. But yeah, it was fascinating, frustrating, but great fun. Yeah, real good clean racing with Scott. And just made too many mistakes. That damn wall. I think I left more of my paint on it than there was in the car, but end of the car by the end of the race.
It's an unusual track, isn't it?
It is, yeah. It's kind of, just four corners of chuck it and see, and it could be more fun, but like obviously there's more corners, ups and downs, and that sort of stuff. But the street stuff just makes it nice and close. You have no room for error, as I proved several times. And yeah, just you got to make the best of it. And it's good times.
The key thing was you got Scott back with a very well timed, lovely move, and that's obviously something that you can take with you into race 2. Talk us through that move if you can remember it.
At the hairpin, it was just that hairpin in the straight. You're in there 130 odd mile an hour, and you get that braking point ever so slightly wrong, as I demonstrated several times. You just wide, and that's all you need to nip up the inside. And as long as you get the drive out of it, you're all right. But it's easily done. You just got to watch out for it and try and pressure the other guy into a mistake, which Scott did successfully. I did not successfully, so Scott came away with second place. But yeah, it was well worth it. Great fun racing.
And then potentially more overtakes to be done in race 2 and feature race, which is, I guess, from the races I've seen in this campaign so far, this is the track maybe where overtakes are more of a premium than anywhere else.
Yes, definitely. There is going to be kind of your typical street circuit blockages, isn't there? I was watching Macau the other weekend, and the typical kind of close. One slight incident could cause a big gap, and then that just elevates the gap that you've got to try and catch up in front. Yeah, it's gonna be interesting. I don't think we've done a street circuit. Not whilst I've been racing. I don't think we've done a street circuit. So it's been my first time virtually racing a street circuit, which should be good.
Oh, it's for me as well, commentating. Great to chat to you. 2 races on the bounce on the podium, of course, because you won the feature race last time out at Lausitzring, Chris. So well done on that. Well done on P3. I'll let you go and get ready for your reverse grid race. So well done on third place, Chris Blakey.
Brilliant. Thank you, guys.
Thank you very much. Second position goes to Scott Butler. Welcome back, Scott. How are you?
I'm not too bad. How are you?
I'm very well, thank you. Yeah, we missed you last time.
Yeah, no, my work has just been so busy. I've been working late and doing as much overtime as I can for next year, really, and getting the money in the pot.
That's your drop round, isn't it? The last one. Are we going to? Hopefully, you'll be on for the rest of the campaign because you're still fourth in the standings.
Yeah, I mean, I've dropped quite a few points, so I think how I look at it now is I haven't really got anything to lose, so just go for the wins and see what I can do.
And Chris didn't make that easy for you. You had to get past him twice, but you did it, and you stayed in front to the end. So satisfactory result.
Yeah, no, I really enjoyed it. I've raced with Chris a few times, and it's nice and clean, and I don't think there's any contact at all, and that's how it should be. And yeah, hopefully this one will be a bit more exciting, I think.
So, I mean, we've seen that you're capable of the overtakes, but the thing with the reverse grid race, particularly the race 2 of the 3 race format, is that you're up against the drivers in the vicinity of the drivers that you're racing with in the first race. Obviously, when we get onto race 3, it's accumulation of points, so you might get slightly different drivers that you come up against. But effectively, you've got a renewed battle, haven't you, with Chris?
Yeah, absolutely. I think it's about kind of getting out of the first couple of laps and then finding your thing, and then kind of just pick them off where you can and when you can, because yeah, like you said, this track is quite difficult to overtake, and you outbrake yourself, like Chris said, slightly into the both hairpins. You run wide and you lose quite a bit of time. So it's just about picking them off where you can. But like I said, I've got nothing to lose, so I'm just going to go for it and hopefully get through the pack and get another podium or two.
Oh, that'll be good. How's the real world racing? I mean, I guess that finished a good few weeks ago now. Is the car in sort of stripped down, ready for next year?
Yeah, the engine's back now. We're testing in my dad's car at Snetterton on Saturday.
Right.
It's meant to be lovely weather, pouring down the rain all day, so that'll be fun. But yeah, just to go out and give that a little shakedown. I'll put a passenger seat in so I can take my missus round and might get her a bit scared and screaming at me again. And then yeah, just go and have a bit of fun really, and then sort of put them away for winter, and then probably after the new year, get both cars out and testing, and hopefully do quite a few rounds next year.
That'll be good. It's not far away now, is it? We were just when we were doing the calendar run through and saying, this takes us up to a couple of weeks before Christmas, which then all the partying goes on. Then all of a sudden it's Christmas and New Year, and then we're into Autosport show, and everyone wants to test if the weather allows it. So time sort of marches on quite quickly, doesn't it?
It does, yeah. It soon flies by, and my dad, I know he's listening, so we're definitely the sort of people that like to leave it a little bit to the last minute.
What racing driver doesn't?
I know, but it makes it more fun for us. That's what we do, and we enjoy it. And we're stressed beforehand, and then when we get there, it's like a little mini holiday for us. So go and have fun and bring it all back in one piece, and hopefully come home with a trophy and some champagne.
Yeah, that's a great way of looking at it. Scott, welcome back. Well done on the podium. Super race, mate. Thoroughly enjoyed watching you, and always enjoy having a natter as well. So well done, Scott Bugner, P2.
Thank you very much.
Well done, Scott.
Cheers.
I'll tell you what we're going to do. I'm going to get Thomas to do the winners interview, because I've spoken to Eric so many times. It'd be nice for Thomas. And if you don't want to, Thomas, don't worry. But nice to put you on the spot and give you a little bit of experience of talking about the race with our winner, Eric Axelson.
Yeah, no, all good. Well done, Eric, first of all. Just drove away in that one, really, didn't you? Like every racing driver wants to. But yeah, no, I think you did a great job. How was it out for you, just sort of keeping consistent around the circuit? Because I know I've done a little bit of sim train leading up to it, and it's quite difficult to stay consistent on due to the barriers and stuff. So how do you find it?
Thank you, Jonas. Yeah, I had a good start. The start was pretty much perfect, and I saw that Chris was dropping back just a bit, and then it was just about try to hook up perfect laps really. But Chris was really fast as well, especially like the first half of the race before he started to battle with Scott. So I wasn't really pulling away that first half. So yeah, it was tough still. One like tiny like the tiniest mistake, like a touch wall or like, and you lose so much time. So it can be over in a second, really.
Yeah, no, 100%. What are your sort of goals and ambitions going into the second one? Obviously, you want another race win. How do you sort of approach that? Obviously, coming off a run race win. Obviously, try and repeat the same. But how do you feel going into it?
Yeah, I mean, in the second race, reverse grid is, I think it's a little bit different, especially around this track. I think obviously there's a championship to think about as well. So I'll try to keep Jack and Oliver in sight and stay as close to them and preferably ahead of them at some point. We'll see how that goes. But and also like try to avoid any carnage in T1.
For sure. Yeah, we saw in that last race. It was very action-packed going into turn one on lap one. Sort of how do you approach that sort of turn one scenario? Obviously, you'll be in the mid-pack this time, not at the front. Is it sort of survival on the first sort of lap, or are you sort of going for those overtakes early on and then settling into your groove nice and early?
Yeah, well, I rather like lose like one place by taking it slow into T1 than like basically losing 10 places. So I'll probably take it easy and try to make up for it in the rest of the race if I can. really.
Well, Eric, good luck for your good luck for your second race, and yeah, can't wait to see what you do. See you later.
Thank you, Thomas.
Well done, Eric. Congratulations. Well done, Thomas Merritt, as well. I'll tell you what, I feel redundant now. I don't need to do this anymore. You've just got yourself a new lead commentator. Well done, mate. Absolutely brilliant work. Absolutely spot on. And thanks to Henry Foote, who's been messaging in as well with the sound issues we had at the start. If I'm not sure whether my introduction for Thomas was missed, but Thomas is in the BRCC Fiesta Junior Championship, one of the front runners for this year. So that's who's commentating with us today, and doing a super job, as our other guest commentators have done. But we've got 30 seconds remaining. So here is the reverse grid. Top 10, not 12, as I said in the race. Apologies for that. It means Andy Dorman's on pole position in the white and blue with Adam Lyle alongside. He's got his door shut now. Lee Pearcey and Josh Martin line up on row 2. Andy Carroll and Oliver Gibson on row 3, followed by Jack Smith, Chris Blakey, Scott Bookner and Eric Axelson. So 7 seconds to go. Lighting sequence is underway. This is going to be another interesting one on the Norisring. Let's see, race 2 out of 3. Our second sprint race is underway. It's a good start by Andy Dorman. Great start by Adam Lyle, who's going to try and nip across and consolidate second position. But Lee Pearcey has spotted the gap, accelerates well. Pearcey spotted the gap to try and go for the lead as well. Can't quite do that and winds up dropping back. It's Andy Carroll around the outside, who does come out of it in second position with Andy Dorman, the race leader. They're side by side as they head down towards the chicane for the first time. And it's Lyle on the inside as they come into the first part of the chicane. And it's going to grab the initiative here. And Andy Dorman has to cede it on the exit of the chicane as they go down onto Zeppelinstrasse. And it's a super start there, very well judged by and Adam Lyle, who goes into the race lead. The very keen battle on for second position, which has gone the way of Josh Martin at the moment. I thought Josh was going to go back into the back of Adam Lyle. In fact, he's challenging hard, and he's got his nose down the inside here as Josh Martin. So Josh has, I think, got the line as he come across the straight, and he's going to convert this into the lead.
Yeah, no, great start from Adam there. But I don't think it's going to be as easy as Eric had it last race. As we see Josh going down the inside here, and Andy behind looking for what could possibly happen next for him to take the race lead. These top 3 have got a little gap, but I think if they start battling really hard and the guys behind start working together with Lee up front, then yeah, it could turn into quite an interesting race.
It will indeed. Josh Martin really has had a super opening lap. From 4th on the grid, he got away very well. He just did a couple of place pickoffs. Let's go back and have a look. We're in car here with Adam Lyle looking at the race leader. As I look at the timing screen, we can see that Eric Axelson's still in 10th place. So Eric's not made any positions up at the moment. Chris Blakey is up to 8th place. Scott Bookner in 7th. Scott doing what he predicted he would do, which is just go for it, because you remember was not with us last time out at Lausitz. So got nothing to lose. He's just going to go for it. That can sound a little bit reckless, but I can tell you Scott is anything but reckless. He's just going to try and get as many points as he can. Andy Dorman in 3rd place, trying to get back on terms with Adam Lyle in 2nd place. There are the 2 brothers involved as well. Lee Pearcey 4th at the moment. Jack Smith ahead of Oliver Gibson again, so he's reversed the reverse, so to speak, to get up into 5th place. And this is the view from Oliver Gibson, who, with the most ballast on the car, I hope we do get a podium interview with him today, because it'll be interesting to get the perspective of, I suppose, I could have asked Eric about the perspective of having a lot of ballast. Eric on 33 kg, Jack on 37, his brother Oliver, as we said earlier on 38. Some great racing going on here with Eric Axelson trying to get down the inside of Paul Laramie, which he does, and gets up into 9th place. So good stuff from Eric, making up another position. Remember, the points are aggregated for the 2 sprint races to give us the grid for the feature race a little bit later on, which is again reversed and with tyre changes needed as well. So we're looking at the scrap for 3rd place at the moment, with Andy Dorman ahead of Lee Pearcey and Jack Smith in behind as well, and a great big gaggle of cars here. And I guess strategy isn't going to be a thing when you're in a gaggle. Let's just get to the front, Thomas.
Yeah, for sure. I think all of these drivers will be thinking about sort of the next overtaking opportunity and how they can set themselves up for that. See here Oliver and Jack sort of lining up for those moves. I think Oliver's got to play it quite smart here. Obviously, he's in it for the championship. He doesn't want to do anything too reckless, give himself a penalty or get taken out himself. And it'll be interesting to see how Eric sort of fares as well. He's dropped off a little bit, but I'm sure if these guys start squabbling, then he'll be there in no time.
No, on board with Scott Brugner, looking back at Jack Smith. Jack looks like he's beginning to get a little bit of meeting momentum, if we can call it that. He was coming on strong, obviously, in the later stages of the first race, moving up into that 4th position. And it looks like he's strong again. I'm wondering whether Oliver, he can't rest on the laurels of a single point championship lead. This might wind up being a drop score round for him, in which case his championship lead could get slightly stronger. Lee Pearce going out towards the wall again. I think he wants to leave a little bit more paint on there, does Lee, but stays in 4th position at the moment, chasing Andy Dorman. So the magic of the reverse grid race working well for Josh Martin, who's using the open track here exceptionally well to get fastest lap of the race so far, 56.672 for the race leader, and the race lead 1.7 seconds, which is pretty much the sort of lead we saw from Eric Axelsen in race 1.
Yeah, he's starting to get that little gap now, but like you said before, Adam Lyle was only 1.4 seconds behind, and that gap is going up and then coming down again. So Josh has to keep on pushing for these last 10 minutes, as we see Eric here making his way up into 8th place, and then he's almost on the back of Oliver for the championship. So yeah, that'll be interesting to see how that battle fares, where they've both got the weight as well.
Yeah, a great spot there. That's what he needs to do. He needs to be with those 2 championship protagonists. But at the moment, Chris Blakey, seeing him off at the moment. Chris in the, we call it the Duracell car, the black car with the gold top. I'm sure that's not the reason for it, but a good ID nonetheless. And he's going through. So that is Jack Smith, who's dropping back. That is very uncharacteristic for Jack Smith. Not sure what's gone on there. And Eric is going to try.
I think there was another driver involved as well. I think they were spun or very on the exit of the chicane as well. So not sure what's happened there.
I missed that one. So well spotted. Good spot there by Thomas Merritt. Let's have a look and see whether Eric can get the better of him here. He's on the outside run. Jack Smith is getting back up to speed. It's my fault, actually. Curse the commentator for saying he had meeting momentum, isn't it? And people don't like nice comments early on in the race because it can scupper them.
Yes, indeed. I've had a few of those this season, not from yourself, but from others.
Andy McEwen, I think, is the one you need to blame.
Yeah. But yeah, we see Eric here, just on the back sit. He's made some good progress in the last couple of laps, so it'll be interesting to see how he gets on.
Yeah, this is absolutely key, isn't it? Try and make a few positions as you go through. So from 10th into 7th place at the moment. Josh Martin, remember, the race leader, has come up from 4th into 1st. We've got Adam Lyle still in P2, Andy Dorman still in 3rd, and Scott Brugner has come through from the 5th row of the grid into 4th position. He said he was after a podium, and by goodness me, he may well be in sight of a podium here.
Yeah,
Scott
he's just
Brugner.
at the fastest lap as well, so he's really pushing on now. 1.2 seconds to Andy, so it'll be interesting to see how that gap sort of fares in the next couple of laps.
It is going to be interesting to see, isn't it? And a double podium here in a reverse grid race on Norisring, I think it's going to be something pretty exceptional. He's going for those points. He can't afford any more drop rounds, as you heard. So he's just going to race to enjoy it, Scotland. And we know he's quick anyway. But it's interesting, the mindset of a driver, if you know that you've got to do absolutely everything. Does that fire you up? Is that a scenario you've had in karting or car racing?
I tend not to focus on those things because for me personally as a driver, I sort of get too stressed about them. So I just treat each race the same as I usually would, even if it's the championship finale and I'm in contention for it. Just keep a level head, go into it like it's your first race or whatever, and then just have some fun really, and just try not to keep those emotions, under control.
You say have some fun, but it's a serious business, isn't it? And particularly as you get a lot of people investing in him. You mentioned, media training from Louise and fitness training, iZone coaching, everything. Does that ever get to you? The fact that you've got so many people, taking that interest. As Paul Laramie gets a little tap on the back there from Andy Carroll, which was a shame. So Paul Laramie dropping down the order with a little bit of damage. That one may well come up in the Clark's one, and I think you probably managed to get away without my question.
Yeah, no, in answer to your question, there's so much that goes on behind the scenes that people don't know about. even in the winter break, is possibly even busier than the race season, trying to get prepared for the next season. And like you've heard before, it's getting budgets and keeping up with your fitness and your sim training. It all adds up. But you know, that's the joys of motorsport, and that's why we all love it, for the thrill and the end results. So yeah.
Some great people involved as well, which is the key thing for me as a commentator. And up into third place now goes Scott Bugner on the inside of Andy Dorman. You could see the thought process there from Scott Bugner, who's just working his way through and trying to just work out on the circuit when would be the appropriate time to do it. That was very well timed indeed. But Andy Dorman is fighting back, and Andy doing what we saw Chris Blakey do earlier on, not making it easy at all here for Scott Bugner, and having a very good run at trying to come back. But of course he's got Oliver Gibson right behind him as well. Behind Oliver it's Chris Blakey, who's come up well. Eric Axelson 7th, Jack Smith recovering in 8th place from Andy Carroll, and then Thomas Potter up into the top 10 ahead of Lee Piercy. So the Flying Teapot is having a go, and is that going to leave the door open here for Oliver Gibson? I tell you what, Andy Dorman wants third position back, and it's the roles reversed here, isn't it, on Scott Bugner from where we were in race number 1. He's under massive pressure going into the chicane, and this is spirited stuff from Andy Dorman.
Yeah, no, brilliant move from Scott on that last lap. Executed that really well, but like you said before, Andy is all over the back, and with 4 minutes to go, I don't think Scott's going to get away, especially with the toe in these cars. And then Oliver, again, with that weight, you can just see where they're starting to gap him. But he's got some mega pace, and hopefully he'll be looking for some more positions without taking too many risks.
What a fascinating round this has been so far, and I think we're going to have a very good feature race once again. A really good format that we've had for this series, and we've got 3 more events to go after this weekend. And chasing hard though is Oliver Gibson, who's got the run here. He's going to have a look down the inside. Is he too far back? Yes, he is. Comes out of that move, but you can see the thought process there. He's got Chris Blakey behind him. How worried was he about Chris Blakey there as well, or probably more worried about the contact going into the hairpin?
Yeah, just trying to stay out of trouble, to be honest with you. But you can see what he's doing, just showing his nose and getting in the mirrors of Andy, just trying to put him off and hoping that Andy makes a mistake. But I think Andy was wiser to it, and yeah, is doing a good job so far. But then obviously you've got Chris behind that's mounting a huge amount of pressure. And I think, to be honest with you, he's going to have to turn to his mirrors, as we can see here, just Chris showing his nose up the inside. So it'll be interesting to see his thought process for the last couple of laps.
It's just taken the pressure off Scott Bugner a little bit in third place, with Oliver Gibson chasing Andy Dorman. Now that, as you said, he's got Chris Blakey behind him, with Eric Axelson not that far behind as well. 3 minutes 23 to go on the clock. Just kind of made our 3rd and 4th place settle down a little bit. The race leader goes through, Josh Martin. It's the green and black machines, isn't it, holding their own here. Eric Axelson in race 1 and Josh Martin in this one. Fastest lap in this one still with Andy Carroll. He's in 9th place chasing Jack Smith at the moment, but Josh Martin controlling this one out front. And it'll be always great to have a chat with different drivers over the course of the season. Josh Martin, I think, only had he has had a win, hasn't he? Won at Hockenheim earlier on in the season and had a podium in the feature race last time out. So it's almost like Josh has started building a little bit of form over the championship now, as Andy Dorman for 4th position, coming under a bit more pressure once again from Oliver Gibson.
Yes, indeed. And one person we haven't really spoken about, we just mentioned him, was Eric. He's been pushing on over the last couple of laps up into P7, but crucially he's in this pack. So it'll be interesting to see how he sort of approaches this, again with the extra weight. But with 2 minutes left, I think it's about to get really spicy. So yeah, we'll wait and see.
Amazing how the main championship protagonists, as you say, right, all pretty much together. Oliver Gibson, Chris Blakey and Oliver Gibson.
Yeah, and like Eric's now looking for this move into the hairpin. I think this hairpin will be a real pinch point on board with Eric now. Wait and see. Oliver's on the outside, so he's potentially going to lose out to Chris, and potentially Eric if he can follow him through.
Yeah, see what Eric's going to do in the Dean Martin. A little bit of drifting there, and maybe the tyres going off. And Jack Smith looking to get a crucial championship point here by coming through on the inside. So Eric may be pushing a little bit too hard there. I'll tell you what, no, Jack can't quite do it, can't get the momentum, so they're actually all...
Oliver, though, going on Chris, potentially.
So Chris Blakey at the moment holds sway as they go through. Eric Axelson looks around the outside. Can he hold on to that, which will give him the inside for the first part of the chicane, which will be a very optimistic move. Just over a minute to go on the clock for our second sprint race. And this has gone so quickly. I haven't written anything down yet, which is normally a thing that I get to do. So Josh Martin, our race leader, 2.7 seconds clear of Adam Lyle. I'm trying to remember if we've had Adam Lyle on the podium over the course of the season. Yes, we have. Lausitz, he was a podium finisher at race 1 at Lausitz, but this has actually calmed down just a wee bit now as we head into the last minute of this race. Josh has controlled it well. Adam Lyle's done well. Scott Bugner's done superbly to come up from 9th on the grid up onto a podium slot, so he'll get another interview with us, and I might hand that one over to you actually to do and give you a chance to have a chat with him, and also it'd be nice for Scott to talk to different people as well. But here is Josh Martin in the 89 car. First met him in the mini series during lockdown, and a great little character is Josh. It'd be lovely to see him in some real world action at some point again, and he's got a good lead here over Adam Lyle in second position. I think this will be Adam's best result of the campaign if he can get it. A little bit of showboating there.
Indeed.
And well, coming up towards the checkered flag, so Josh Martin will take the win. Well done, Josh. We'll have a word with him very shortly. So Josh Martin's second win of the campaign. Nice to see him taking it. How do you do that with the doors? We saw Adam Lyle do that in race number 1. He does it again. It's like the air brakes on the dragsters at Zandvoort, or the little roof brakes that they, gurney flaps, I think you call them as well, but on the side. Adam Lyle second. Scott Bugner in third place. A great result for Scott. Andy Dorman holds on for a very well-earned fourth place. From Chris Blakey in fifth. Oliver Gibson next up from Eric Axelson, who stayed ahead of Jack Smith in the end. It was Andy Carroll in ninth from Lee Piercy, wrapping up our top 10. Thomas Potter just losing out on the top 10 there. Christian Gillian. Daniel Heaps 13th from Alex Walker in 14th. And then John Jones, Olivia Krishnovska, Harry Ormerod and Paul Laramie. Sam Walton, don't think, didn't manage to finish that one, which was a great pity. That's how they finished, and we'll have podium interviews for you after this break. How does that happen? Oh, well. When we cut you, do you want to do the interview with Scott, as I've already had a chat with him? Is that okay, Thomas?
Yeah, that's fine, mate.
Okay. What I'll do, I'll pick up after the break and then sort of hand over to you.
Yeah, perfect.
And I'll have a word with Adam and Josh, but feel free to ping questions at them if you'd like to as well.
Perfect.
Thanks, mate. Great job. Really, really good job.
Thank you.
Stop with that. Welcome back, and very well done to our top three. Another splendid race. And we're going to have a word with the man who finished third position first of all. But to do that interview, as he's already spoken to me, I'm going to hand over to Thomas Merritt, who's going to MC the interview with Scott.
Well done, Scott. Mega race. Lots of positions gained, and quite an exciting race for yourself. How'd you find it?
No, it was really good. Just like I said to Richard, it's just elbows out and just try and get as many points as I can now for the rest of the season, and see if we can catch up with the boys in front of me in the championship.
Yeah, no, for sure. How are you finding racing on the Norisring? Obviously, it's quite a tight street circuit with barriers jutting out all over the place. So having to try and stay calm and relaxed, but also go for those moves. How are you finding it?
I'll be honest, when I last raced here with I think it was a touring car we raced here, I despised it. I really didn't like it at all. But for some reason, with rear wheel drive, even though I don't like rear wheel drive, I seem to be clicking with it. So I can't complain at the minute, but maybe ask me again after the last race.
Yeah, indeed. And sort of, we saw you in that pack towards the end of the race. How are you sort of coping with cars behind you, but also looking forward for those places? Because obviously you're having to not let the people behind go through, but also having to get through. How do you sort of cope with that pressure?
I don't look behind. I don't. I just keep going forward. So once I pass that person, I'm like, right, next. Keep picking them off where I can. But it is really difficult when you're looking in the mirrors. To miss the braking points here is very easily done. So it is easy done. But fingers crossed we can get through this last race with minimal damage and see if we can get another podium.
Yeah, brilliant. Thank you, Scott, and
Thank
well
you.
done for that last one, and good luck for
Cheers.
the feature.
Thank you very much.
Well done, Scott Bugner, and well done, and thank you to Thomas Merritt, who's fitting into this job very well indeed. Let's go to someone else who's fitting into the meeting well. P2, third podium of the season for Adam Lyle. Well done, Adam. And I've got to say, I love the air brakes at the end of the races.
Yeah, it's just something I've been playing around with. Found out what the buttons were to map, and yeah.
Yeah, brilliant fun. That was a hard race, though.
Yeah, it was. I obviously see Scott was chasing me down all the way through the end, and I knew the fast lads would come through if they caught me. So at the start, I just thought, you know what, let Josh go. It saves wasting time, and it worked.
And it's best result of this campaign, I think, for you, because you had a brace of thirds, you had a feature race at Sachsenring, and race one at Lausitzring. So nice to be getting a good strong result.
Yeah, I think I'd have been a bit higher in the first as well, but I seem to got involved in a turn one incident.
Right.
But yeah, hopefully it's keeps going as it is at the minute.
I'm guessing for most of you guys that you just don't get the chance to. I mean, we don't have street circuits in the UK, so this is simulating something that you've probably not done and won't get the chance to do in real life.
Oh, all roads are street circuits, aren't they?
Oh, I hope my son's not
if you've ever seen me driving.
I mean, did you ever watch the Birmingham street races when they had those years ago? I've seen the YouTube of it.
No, I haven't. Is it good?
Yeah, it's worth. Yeah, it was right. It was different. I think it's a shame that we don't manage to do it. I suppose if they ever did it in this country, it'd be those awful electric things. But proper street racing would be a nice thing, wouldn't it, to have around a city?
Yeah, it would definitely. It'd be good to have one in London.
Yeah, I can see Sadiq Khan doing that. Well, I won't go into politics though. Hopes for the feature race.
Oh, every time you ask me this, I've been it. Oh, I was praying. I had my fingers crossed he's not going to ask me. Survival. That's my aim.
That's fair enough, isn't it? I'll let you off with that one. And I'm not quite sure where we are on the points yet. It looks like we've got a grid coming. It looks like we've got Thomas Potter on the front row of the grid. So let's have a quick look and see where Adam is. You are, I think, 12th on the grid for this one. So not too bad. You've got Oliver Gibson behind you and Jack Smith in front of you for the next one.
Yeah, we'll have Jack into turn one. Well, that's the aim anyway.
Well, have a good one. Thanks for having a natter with us, and well done on the third podium. And we'll see you on the podium again after the next one.
Hopefully, thank you.
Cheers, mate. Adam Lyle takes P2, and a word with our winner, which is Josh Martin. You've had a win fastest off the front. That was at Hockenheim, and now you've done it in a reverse grid race as well. So that bit of the racing bingo is complete. But yeah, perfect start for you there.
Yeah, it was nice and clean this time. I kept to the because in the first race I got pinched up on the inside of someone else's oopsie, so I thought I'll stick to the outside. It's a bit more room to escape this time, and it was right way to go. And yeah, had a nice clean start. Got past I think Andy Dorman straight away because he got a bit of a wiggly exit out the chicane, and I was able to get a cut back almost straight away on Adam out the final hairpin, and shout out to Adam as well because it was smart racing because he could have defended and we could have had a big battle and lost loads of overall race time, which would have only brought the others onto the back of us. But by him kind of just settling in behind, we were able to get quite a good gap.
with the green and silver, we kind of thought it was Eric doing it again, but it was your turn. So the teams had sort of two virtually identical races with you guys at the front.
Hey, don't start chesting out. You let my secret out.
Who was the guy? Wasn't there a famous ringer? Wasn't there in some? Who was it a F2 or a F1 test driver or something that was a ringer in a competition? I don't know if you remember.
Yeah, that was during COVID, I think, wasn't it? They had,
I can't remember who it was.
Yeah,
that doesn't happen, by the way, in this ones. But no, it was good for the team, wasn't it? There, so 2 wins out of 2 for the team.
Yeah, and it's also because I don't get too much time to practice. So I'm running Eric's setup as well. So it's a top effort from Eric really to can repay him a little bit by getting him some team points for a win. So yeah, shout out to Eric as well for obviously a great setup as always.
So you're starting, I think, 16th on the grid if the timing screen looks about right, and Eric's 18th, so Eric's right at the back. I'm trying to work out how Eric scored more than Scott, but yeah, he got the win, didn't he, in race 1, so the extra points for the win. So yeah, it's yourself, Scott, and Eric. I think Eric got the last lap as well in both of them. Right. I mean, I've spoken to the other drivers about this and said how overtaking is very much a premium, isn't it, on this circuit? And there is space, and you can do it, but yeah, realistically, where can you come, do you think, from 16th on the grid over the? Is it going to be a strategy thing? I mean, if your strategy is the same as everyone else, that levels it all out again, doesn't it?
I think it's gonna be mixed, different tyre compounds and everything. But I've got the power, I've got the pace to win this one. And then when I come through the field in race 1 after being knocked down, I didn't find it too bad at all actually to overtake. You just got to be last the late breakers and getting it stopped for the corners, and yeah, it's not too bad.
Timing screen's showing us that you've got medium. Is that for the start? Has that been set already? So you're going to go out. Would you not prefer the soft to try and make a few places up in the early stages, or what's the thing?
I can't confirm or deny what tire I'm starting.
You drivers.
No, I'm on the I'm on the medium. I find that at the start everyone's super bunched up, so I can keep up with the soft runners and get the medium out of the way. Obviously, you don't quite have the same purchase off the line and everything, but yeah, we'll see how it works, how it all plays out.
That's good. Not bad though. Anyway, second win in the championship. And looking ahead, what are your thoughts on Zandvoort? Do you like Zandvoort next time out?
Yeah, it's a fun track. I've not driven it for a very long time.
Okay.
So yeah, it should be fab in these cars. I've not driven the new layout with all the bankings. So it'd be interesting to try the bankings out and see what kind of difference how the track drives, how it flows. So yeah, it should be a good one.
Excellent, Josh. Well done on the win. Always a pleasure to have a natter with you. Good luck for the feature race, and we're going to sign off for our winners from this one because we've got about a minute to go for the next race. So all the best for that, and well done.
Yeah, thanks very much. See ya. Thanks. Hopefully,
was cut off in his prime there. I think he was saying hope to talk to you on the podium. After that, I think not that I want to finish the sentence for him, but so we've got a little bit of time before the feature race. We've got 45 seconds to go. Thomas Potter showing as the man on pole position from Paul Laramie, who we saw having a moment, got tagged in that first one. But the great thing about reverse grid racing is if you don't have the rub of the green in the first 2 sprint races in this format, you do get a chance to go off towards the front in this one. So it's Thomas Potter from Paul Laramie, Harry Ormerod in the Jägermeister livery, the orange livery. He's third. Livia Krzyżanowska is next, 4th position from Alex Walker and John Jones. Daniel Heaps 7th from Christian Gillian, Lee Piercy, Andy Carroll 10th from Andy Dorman, Jack Smith, Adam Lyle, and the lighting sequence is already underway. So it's Thomas Potter on pole position. Thomas had a quiet couple of rounds and he's due a decent result here. He's a little bit slow off the line, and going through on the inside is Paul Laramie. And so Paul Laramie very quickly up into the lead. Thomas will be very disappointed with his start, but he's still in P2, so he can still do some good work from there. It's Alex Walker up into 3rd place in the green and white car. Saw a little bit of him. Harry Ormerod right the way around the outside, very nearly gets squeezed into the Armco barrier on the outside. But Paul Laramie, decent start from him as we ride on board with Thomas Potter trying to chase Paul down. Thomas is starting to get into his groove now. He's one of our featured drivers, of course, is it the last round? Can't quite remember. But he's putting pressure on Paul Laramie. Do you know what? I've got to say, Thomas Merritt, for a totally reverse grid start, that was very, very good going into the first turn by everybody. All behaving themselves well so far.
Yeah, extremely good at the moment. I'm not going to jinx it, but yeah, no, first lap, really good. Thomas, like you say, just losing out on the start there. And Paul's reaction times were an all-time high there to just slot himself in between the barriers and Thomas. But like you say, Thomas is only 3/10 behind, and will hopefully be going for a move to create a bit of excitement for us. So yeah, the race is starting to settle down now, but I'm sure not for too long. And then it'll be interesting to see how sort of Eric and Oliver Gibson and people like that make their way through the field.
Yeah, it's going to be fascinating. See, Scott Bugner not up on the podium yet. He's only in 11th place, is Scott. So I'm joking, Scott, and he knows that. As we watch Daniel Heaps, it could be good for a podium here. He's got Andy Carroll up ahead of him at the moment. Paul Laramie coming under a bit of pressure here. Thomas Potter's going for the lead, side by side. Potter's got the line here on the inside. Is he going to be able to pull this one out? It's the outside as they go into the hairpin. Potter might switch back and go for the inside. Gets a little bit of a drift on as they come out of turn 7 down towards turn 8 and onto the main straight. Thomas Potter certainly having a go. Going to have to keep an eye on Andy Carroll behind him, just having a quick look in his mirrors. Andy's a fair way away at the moment, so Thomas should be able to challenge for the lead again without too much pressure from behind at the moment. And he's going around the outside. This is very brave stuff from Thomas Potter. He's going to try and hang on. Can't quite do it. It's a great battle going on between Alex Walker and Andy Carroll at the moment for third place. They're swapping positions, and of course the fact that they're battling means that Thomas Potter gets extra laps to have a go here at Paul Laramie, but Paul holding his own. This is super stuff, and again, why I absolutely love reverse grid racing in any formula, because it gives those a chance to shine where they haven't had the rub of the green over the first couple of races. And Thomas Potter here is in fine fettle, looking at the outside again is Thomas, now switches to the inside. This could give him the run.
Yeah, Thomas trying to go for the cutback there, but Paul just getting the drive off. Not sure if Thomas had some wheel spin on the exit of that hairpin there, but Paul's very wise to what Thomas is doing, because Thomas is keep getting forced to the outside by Paul, and Paul's just able to break that a little later and just put him on the outside. And it was interesting what you were saying about blue flags at the beginning of the evening, because it looks like we were coming up on a lap car. I just saw from the distance there, so it'll be interesting to see how this lead battle gets through it.
I think it's Lee Pearcey, isn't it? The man we spoke to after qualifying. He's had a mare of opening couple of laps for some sort of issue, which is a great pity for Lee. But what a race we've got here, and Thomas Potter is all over the back of him. Now, settling down in third place is Andy Carroll. It's got clear at the moment. Daniel Heaps is in fourth. Stay with the lead battle. Teeing up on the inside here. He's going to try and flick back on the inside, turns tightly in, and I think has got the move done here. Thomas Potter side by side with Paul Laramie. Timed that one very well indeed. Can he hang on to it though? Laramie on the outside line. Here they come out of turn 8. Onto the main straight here, side by side. Has Potter got the momentum? Is Paul Laramie going to be able to get across in front of him as they come through turn 1 and down to the hairpin at turn 2? Laramie's got a slight lead, but Thomas Potter is going to have the line into the hairpin, and Potter hangs on to it, doesn't take Laramie out too wide, and gets through into the lead. The man who started on pole was relegated into P2 off the start, but is now back in lead position after a fine battle with Paul Laramie. And we've got Andy Carroll closing up on Paul Laramie as well. And this could allow Thomas to start to build a little bit of a lead here if the battle for second position engages. And if that engages, it could bring Daniel Heaps, who's in P4, the white car, into the mix for a podium position. And I'm hoping before we get into the tyre stops, as down the inside now comes Carroll having a look. So Carroll closing up, tyre strategy-wise. Out of the front runners, Thomas Potter on the soft tyre. That stood him in good stead, hasn't it, on these opening laps to get back into the lead?
For sure, yeah. Thomas now needs to just focus on consistency. Paul's not close enough to go for a move, so if Thomas can just bang in some good laps, then hopefully he'll be able to get away.
Got to know where to look at the moment as Adam Lyle goes around the outside of Chris Blakey. Chris giving him room there. You can see on the exit of turn 1. Not many drivers have been doing that, but that's good stuff from Chris Blakey. So Lyle up into 7th place. They'll swap and trade as they go around the twists and turns here. Well, having said that there wasn't any contact, there was there, and Adam Lyle goes out towards the wall. Certainly, again, no malice in it at all. Let's have a quick look and see how our big Chargers are doing. Well, we'll do that in a minute because we've got a fine scrap going on with Andy Carroll still chasing P2. Have a quick look down. Scott Bugner is 12th, who could be going for the win. He's got Eric Axelson right behind him in 13th place now, as Andy Carroll has a look here to try and get level with Paul Laramie's on the wrong side of the track at the moment. Is he going to be able to do the burn up round the outside and hold on the outside line? Turns into Laramie, can't quite do it. He'll flick back into the outside line, but Jack Smith has come through superbly here into 5th place. Jack Smith is challenging the white car of Daniel Heap, so Jack Smith could be on for a potential podium position here. It's early doors. Smith is on a medium tyre, so he's got the advantage of having the soft tyre a little bit later on. So this is very impressive stuff from Jack Smith as we watch Andy Carroll having another go here. He's on the inside run and it's going to do what Thomas Potter did, goes through on the inside line. Potter trying to build the race lead at the moment, but Laramie's got the cutback on the inside as they come back onto the main straight.
Yeah, Andy with that just slightly better run on the outside, but Paul now having the inside for turn 2, so it'll be really interesting to see. He's just backed off now, trying to go for the outside, maybe to do a similar cutback. But we just see there Thomas Potter setting the fastest lap of the race with a 57.153, just starting to build that gap now, and I'm sure he'll be loving that squabble going on behind, but he just needs to focus on maximising those soft tyres.
Great to see Thomas Potter up at the sharp end of the race. He's had some rotten luck, and eventually, as I say to all young drivers, when their heads go down, but it will come back to you. Keep going, keep plugging away, it will come back. That's what's happening for Thomas here. He's on the soft tyre, but he's using that choice well. He's the race leader. We'll see what he can do on the medium once the stops have happened. So it's Potter leading. Paul Laramie back in P2 now from Andy Carroll, but there was a change on the previous lap for 4th place. We saw Jack Smith going through on the inside of Daniel Heap. So Jack Smith running very well, and he's on the medium tyre as well and made some really good progress. Fastest lap of the race with Chris Blakey at the minute, so that might be important of what's coming up a little bit later on in the race as the battle for second continues again. It's still Laramie on the inside, but Jack Smith coming up as well. A little tap on the back, I think, from Jack Smith. Daniel Heaps is in the mix as well. Chris Blakey in behind with Alex Walker. Josh Martin is up into 8th place. Harry Ormerod in 9th. Andy Dorman 10th. Now, what about Eric Axelson? Has Eric pitted? Let's have a quick look at the timing screen. Flick it down. Eric has pitted. So Eric Axelson now on the soft tyre. Looks like he's got his stop out of the way early on.
Yeah, potentially. I'm not sure how good the sort of soft tyres are around this circuit, but hopefully he'll swap over to those fast tyres and then maybe make some inroads on these guys. But what a spectacular battle we're seeing here. Jack just trying to find a way past these guys, but Andy and Paul having a spectacular battle, and he's just pitted, potentially just to get out of the battling and just bang in some good laps and hopefully jump these guys after the stops. But yeah, that'll be interesting to see how it pans out.
Thomas, you've watched loads of racing. You're into your GT racing. You're into your strategy. What would be yours here? Say, if you were Paul Laramie, would you carry on with the battle here with Andy Carroll, or would you come in and get the softs on?
I think I'd give it maybe 2 or 3 more laps just to see if I was able to put a little bit of a gap, as we're seeing now, because now we see Paul with Chris, and that is allowing Andy to just get away. So if I was Andy at this point, I would think about just pushing on at the moment and trying to get away. But if I was Paul, I'd potentially be thinking about pitting, just because in all this squabbling, you're losing so much time where you could get in, get some new tyres on, and then just go out and put some consistency in, and then see where you end up after the stops.
Well, it's great to hear your side of things, and we'll see how it plays out for the drivers that have made the early stops. Eric Axelson in 17th at the moment, but he has stopped. He's got the soft tyre on now. Paul Laramie still very much involved there with Daniel Heaps. So it's Heaps at the moment looking at the outside line in the white car. This is the battle for 4th position. Heaps on the outside. Remember, he does a little bit of drifting in his spare time for real, and he got a bit of that going on there, as did Josh Martin in P7. A massive tank slapper on there did Josh Martin, but recovers well, Josh Martin. He's on the medium tyre as well. Wondering when Josh will come in. Doesn't look like Eric has shared his strategy. Shared the setup with Josh Martin, but perhaps not the strategy, as Daniel Heaps finally makes it through, and I think past Paul Laramie now. They're side by side coming up into turn 7. which is the lake or reservoir end of this long straighted circuit. It's not a long circuit in terms of an overall lap, but two very long straights that the drivers have to negotiate. And Daniel Heaps now up into P4. Paul Laramie, though, goes to the outside. What a great shot this is. Laramie trying to get back on terms with him. He'll know that he'll probably have to go for a cut back here because he won't be able to hold on to the grip around the outside. This one reminds me of the hairpin at Croft. You know, the final hairpin at Croft? The lead-in's nothing like the lead-in to the hairpin at Croft, but you raced there. That's an exciting bit of racetrack, isn't it, that hairpin there?
Yes, it certainly is. That whole final sector, after you come out of sunny in and sunny out and then go into that tight final complex, does produce some good action. We see here there's lots of door banging going on, so potentially need to calm it down, but at the same time it's producing great action. So yeah, I mean,
early doors.
too much.
No, absolutely right. Well, it's a little bit early in the race to be looking at who's done the stops and who's leading out of the drivers that have done the stops, but I can tell you that on soft tyres now, both having stopped, Jack Smith is the leading driver having had the pit stop, and he's in on the soft tyre and then in 12th place. Scott Bugner behind him in 13th has had a stop and gone on to the soft tyre as well. So it's Smith and Bugner, the leaders after the stops, as it were, with Oliver Gibson next up. Oliver now is on the medium and he's had a stop, so different strategies going on there as Daniel Heaps getting stuck in. Josh Martin having a go as well around the outside in the green and silver. So Paul Laramie back ahead of them. Thomas Potter still the race leader with a 4-second advantage here. So Thomas not getting too much coverage at the moment. Paul Laramie doing a super job in third place. Chris Blakey having a quiet coverage race at the moment in P2 prior to his stop. But Potter and Blakey running well. Paul Laramie being given a good workout. Josh Martin up into 4th place on the medium tyre and could be well placed to perhaps have his stop a little bit later on as we see Christian Gillian chasing Andy Dorman. First proper look at Christian over the course of the race here, and Andy Dorman, he's had not a bad meeting so far, chasing Christian, who peels off. Christian peels off into pit lane to come in for his tyre stop from 9th place. So he's in the top 10, Christian Gillian. Let's see where he is after all the stops are done.
Yeah, they're certainly not treating this like a feature race, are they? They're treating it like another sprint race. Going for it early doors, but yeah, it'll be interesting to see the likes of Eric that are pitted and Jack that are pitted early for those soft tyres, how long those soft tyres will last before they start to wear out, and the likes of Thomas, where they swap over to those other tyres, if they'll have the advantage later on in the race. It'll be interesting to see how it pans out as we see more side-by-side action. We're getting used to this now, Richard, aren't we? Oh, it's a bit too far.
Alex Walker, yeah, he's tagged and Alex spins it around. Hopefully he'll be able to get going very quickly indeed. But Walker from battling up towards the podium positions, now down into 7th, might lose a little bit more ground as well as we watch a Billy No Mates Josh Martin now. Billy No Mates, because he's out on his own, he'll be happy actually to be on track, get some clear air, concentrate on his lap times. As you heard him say, he hasn't done as much testing pre-event as he might otherwise have liked, as Oliver Gibson and Paul Laramie in the mix as well here. So Paul Laramie has had his stop, so we're starting to get a little bit of a picture. Some way behind the other one stoppers, still led, the drivers that have had stops still led by Jack Smith from Scott Bugner. So Scott Bugner here could be on for a triple podium if we don't put the curse of the commentator on him, but we'll come back to that because Laramie and Oliver Gibson having a great battle with Adam Lyle down behind them as well. Lyle has stopped as well. Gibson on the medium tyre now. So Jack Smith on the soft tyre having stopped. Scott Bugner soft having stopped. Andy Carroll soft, he has stopped as well. Then Oliver Gibson on the medium. Oliver Gibson the only one on the different tyre strategy by the look of it at the moment. And Thomas Potter still our race leader at the moment. Now, while things are relatively calm, I'm going to say that we have got Thomas Merritt with us. And Thomas, I think, are you able to announce what you're doing next year? Is it a done deal, or are you going to be putting a press release out at some point in the next few weeks or so?
No, I can announce it. We'll be competing again, second year in the Fiesta Junior Championship. We've learnt so much this year, and to be able to end up in 3rd in the Mach 7 rookies was such a big accomplishment for me, and such a confidence booster. I think we can carry that into next year and hopefully go for a better championship result. Ideally, we would win the championship, but with such close competition, it's never confirmed in any championship. But we'll be competing in the Fiesta Junior again, the same car with Race Car Consultants again. I just want to say a massive thank you to all the people that have made this possible, all my sponsors, the Event Safety Company, Integral London, and my ambassador, my brand partner as well, KSS, the Sussex Air Ambulance. They've been really good to me this year, and we've got some exciting opportunities coming up in the new year and for next year. So can't wait for next year. Lots of winter testing and bits and bobs, just getting prepared, and then can't wait.
I hope we get to catch up with you on the testing. I'll try and make it along to some of those, and hopefully be working on some of the events as well. And I saw today, or was it yesterday, you got Daniela Sutton joining you at Race Car as well this year.
Yes, we have. She announced that yesterday, so that'll be exciting to just have another teammate, someone that I've never been a part of in the same team before. Like we said earlier, Henry Foote's leading Race Car Consultants along with Jacob Hodgkiss and Tommy Harfield. So I mean, it'll be nice to see some new faces along with some familiar faces. So it'll be interesting to see how she gets on.
Yeah, looking forward to that. So many strong teams in Fiesta Juniors. Of course, you've got the likes of 2010, 10 Sport joining in next year as well. They've run with the Vinyl Detail 150 STs, and they're coming into the championship as well. And obviously, as I said, Jam Sport having won it last year with Jensen O'Neill taking the championship. The last time that we saw the Mark 6 taking the championship. So I think we're in for another very exciting year, and looking forward to, hopefully, fingers crossed, being a part of it with you guys. So just wanted to get that out there. And stop-wise, they're climbing up. Jack Smith's now got John Jones between himself and Scott Bugner in terms of race position. So Jack Smith is the leader in the clubhouse, to use a golfing term. Do you play golf, by the way, Thomas? Has anyone got you into that yet?
I don't. My grandparents play a lot of it, and actually, it would be something I'd be quite interested in. So hopefully I can turn that into a bit of a reality quite soon.
It's a lot of crossover with golf and motor racing. So nice social thing to be able to play as well. So apologies for the golf analogy, which you probably get. Anyway, Chris Blakey now the race leader, because Thomas Potter has pitted, and Thomas has actually come out P2. He's ahead of he's ahead of Scott Bugner. So Thomas Potter's used that strategy well. The soft tyre. Thomas using his head, getting away, and having a decent stopping at the right time, has come out in P2, albeit behind Jack Smith in terms of drivers that have had their stops. As we're watching Josh Martin at the moment, Josh has had a stop as well, down behind Andy Carroll and Scott Bugner, so he's running in about 4th or 5th place at the moment, with Oliver Gibson down behind him as well. So Gibson 11th at the moment, and is the 5th of the drivers having done their stops. We're waiting for Chris Blakey to have his stops. Chris Blakey leading the race at the moment from Daniel Heaps in P2. So Chris Blakey closing up on Olivia Krishnovska, and Olivia might possibly get a blue flag. I don't think she'll maybe need it, because she'll be well aware that she's got the lead car behind her as they come onto the main straight here. And here comes Chris Blakey. Yeah, Olivia moves over, out of the way. Great driving from Olivia. They're very respectful stuff.
Yeah, that was great to see. You do get some people that don't want to admit that they're getting lapped, but that was really nice from Olivia, and that just allows Chris to push on with his race.
Olivia's been sort of up and towards, in towards the top 10. She had a top 10 at Sachsenring in the feature race, which was a great result. Working hard to try and get further up the grid here. It's a very big ask for any of the drivers. And remember, Olivia, one of the teenagers in the championship as well. So, talking of teenagers, Thomas Potter is in 7th. Daniel Heaps is having his stop, and we'll find out where he winds up after that stop. But at the moment, he's showing around about 14th place, but that will level out once we get the pit stops through out of the way. 9 minutes remaining on the clock. The guys that switched over to the soft tyres did so before you got to the point of the race remaining where we had sprint race length left. So the sprint
Yeah.
races were 15 minutes, and a lot of the guys obviously felt from the 2 sprint races that there was more in the soft tyre than a sprint race was taking out of those tyres. So the early stops seemed to work for the likes of Jack Smith, who's had that stop. He's up into P2 now, Jack Smith. So as soon as we see Chris Blakey have his stop, we'll see Jack Smith, this man, take the overall race lead.
Yeah, Jack's played it really well here, starting a bit further down, the likes of Thomas and Andy, but he has played that so well. I'm into P2, which could be provisionally P1. We see Chris now pitting in. But Thomas has also driven a great race, and we can see a little battle brewing there, him and Andy Carroll.
Yeah, absolutely brilliant. This has been a lovely evening's racing, and a good way to put the troubles of the world to one side and enjoy our Wednesday night. Remember, we've got a run of an unbroken run of Wednesdays now as we lead in towards the end of the campaign. There is news upcoming of our next VRRC race campaign as well. I'm not sure if we're going to be able to squeeze that into today's broadcast, but if we don't, we'll do it next week on our Zandvoort programme. So if you're interested in getting involved, there is the change for the lead. So Jack Smith passes Chris Blakey, gets the lead. Jack Smith, what a master tactician he has been in this race, and didn't get the results that we would have normally expected from him. He's our coach, by the way, at VRRC, and I've been reading on the various channels that lots of ways that you can get in touch and have some coaching from Jack if you want that sort of thing. I know that there are a lot of people that have said to me about, yeah, I'd like to do sim racing, but maybe not as competitive as they thought they would be. Well, with VRRC, you do get the opportunity to get coached by some of the top drivers, including the likes of Jack Smith, who's the main coach. So, a clout on the wall there, which I think was Lee Pearcey. He's loved the wall, hasn't he, over this event?
Yeah, he has. Maybe just struggling to get it into that second apex through that chicane, but clearly not holding him back, and he's clearly not slow because he's still pushing on with some rapid lap times. But yeah, obviously every little wall scrape will be holding you back. One person that's really interesting is Eric Axelsen, running P10 at the moment. Maybe looking for a few more positions, but the race is so spread out now that it'll be difficult for him to gain any more inroads, to be honest.
Yeah, Eric pitted early, didn't he? He was one of the first drivers to come in, and it doesn't seem to have played out for him at all. Top 10 is not where he wants to be. Let's have a quick look back. Believe it or not, Thomas, it's going to be his worst finish of the campaign so far. His previous worst result was 7th in the reverse grid race, the first reverse grid race at Sachsenring. So he's going to be very disappointed to be down in 10th place here.
Yeah, indeed. And it'll be interesting to see as well for the race lead with Chris with those new tyres. If he could, if the gap's only 2.4 seconds, it'll be interesting to see if we see a little battle brewing at the end, as we just see Adam and Paul going at it once more. A little bit of contact, but didn't hurt anybody, and we push on down the straight now, which has actually allowed Eric into this battle as well. So it'll be interesting to see how this pans out.
Yeah, Eric would be keen not to get any worse than the 7th he had, as we mentioned earlier on. But he won't do anything rash. Eric will take a pass if he can do it safely, and he'll want to finish. You know that it's all about finishing, but it gets into the back of Paul Laramie, who goes and tags the barriers. That is how close and tight this is around. This is the key thing about street circuit racing. It is so tight. Laramie's going to have a look up the inside to try and repass Eric, who's in P9 now. We're on board with Adam Lyle in 8th place, looking back at Eric, but that is Eric all over, actually, just making the moves as and when he can. Nothing rash. He's just very composed a great deal of the time and consistent. Is he going to be able to make up any more ground? One would say yes. I would say he's probably got 8th place in his sights here. Adam Lyle's not going to be easily moved, as we heard from Adam. Great podium interview with him in P2 in a race 2. But here comes Eric now making the move. He's got the run down the inside. This looks good.
Yeah, it does. Just staying in that toe down that long straight. Got the inside for turn 2, but now we see lots of sideways. But now we see Adam trying to come back at him, but just in that sideways moment, there's more door banging going on behind, and Eric can now look forward. And I don't think he'll be able to gain any more positions, but you never know in this championship.
You certainly don't. Adam Lyle manages to get Paul Laramie back. We've got Lee Pearcey coming up as well. So Lee Pearcey, despite all the times that he's glanced the wall, over the course of this race. He's up in 11th position. Daniel Heaps is in 12th place. Jack Smith still the leader for Chris Blake in 3 seconds. Scott Bugner is in 3rd from Andy Carroll. Josh Martin in 5th. Then Thomas Potter in 6th position. Thomas here, if he gets to 6th place, that will equal his best result of the series so far. He took 6th position in the feature race at Hockenheim. So good strategy, good racing from Thomas Potter here. And if we, to me, that says he's getting his campaign back on track. And that's good to see for him in 6th, and very possibly can close up on Josh Martin and perhaps get a 5th position as Scott Bugner comes under pressure here from Andy Carroll. Let's see what Andy can do about Scott, the two teammates. Of course, you've got the silver front with the gold rear of Scott Bugner, and then the gold front and silver rear, the reverse livery for Andy Carroll. Josh Martin in behind them, and let's see Scott at the moment on for, and this will be a big story here. If he can take another podium, 3 podiums out of 3 races, but Andy Carroll goes through on the inside, passes his teammate, very neat move. And well, Scott Bugner, all these guys running on the soft tyre. Chris Blakey in 2nd position running on the medium, so he's the top medium runner. But Scott said he was going to get his elbows out. He didn't have them out there, did he?
No, he didn't. Quite an easy pass for Andy, and looks like Andy is potentially, it's minimal time left, but with Chris in his sights, he's just at the fastest lap of the race, or he has the fastest lap of the race, so it'll be interesting.
It is going to be interesting. Gets it a little bit sideways there. That scrubs off some speed, so it allows Scott Bugner to try and come back at him. Scott in P4 at the moment. Remember, brace of podia so far for Scott Bugner. He's down in P4. Say down? He's in P4. I can't say down in P4, can I? Josh Martin in 5th place. Oliver Gibson is in 6th. Ahead of these guys, we've got Chris Blakey. So Chris turns in to turn 2, the Grundig carer. We'll head out of there, round the left-hand sweep, which is turn 3, turn 4. The right-hander as they come into the chicane. Left-hander at turn 5 to go on to Zeppelinstrasse once again. It looks like Andy Carroll is now settled in that 3rd place. So Jack Smith leading by 6 seconds. Amazing to think we're going to potentially grab our first chat of the day with Jack Smith in race 3. Normally we get to talk to him as the pole interview. As I said, he's had 3 poles over the course of the season. He grabbed the opening win at Sachsenring as well. He couldn't keep him off the podium at Sachsenring. He had 3 podiums out of 3, and then 3 podiums again at Hockenheim. Just the solitary podium at Oschersleben, and let me see, 2 out of 3 podiums at Lausitzring. So this has been a very quiet race meeting for the man who sits 2nd in the championship. It's going to be very interesting to have a look at the points tables after this race and see whether drop scores are going to come into play here for Oliver Gibson, currently down in 6th. But Carroll's still there, closing up on Chris Blakey. Chris, remember, on the medium tyre, and it's the 2 softer runners that are going to come through, and he's having a go here. Andy Carroll through on the inside, makes the dive down the inside run, but this slightly better momentum out of the turn for Chris Blakey, but he's on the outside run here, and the soft tyres seem to be working down the inside, and Andy Carroll goes across the line up into P2. Where is Scott Bugner on his soft tyres? He could still be on for that podium and be behind his teammate, but there's a fair bit of gap at the moment between Chris Blakey and Andy Carroll. So Carroll consolidates that 2nd position, Chris Blakey 3rd. Now watch for Scott Bugner in P4, who will sense that although he's got his teammates 2 cars in front of him here, he might still be with a shout of making it 3 podiums out of 3.
Yeah, Andy's had some great pace towards the back end of this race. And like I said before, I said there was minimal time, but he's managed to prove me wrong. On the final lap here, Jack's driven a great race. Just been putting in those laps, and it's paid off for him, winning by 7.3 seconds. Well, yeah, what a good race from Jack. Well done. And what rapid pace from Andy at the end. That was great to see, and great racing throughout that feature. It's been a great evening's racing.
It really has been. Well done to Jack Smith, who gets the win. We'll talk to him after the race is finished, but it was side by side for 2nd and 3rd place. Andy Carroll gets 2nd position. Chris Blakey comes home in third, and just denied that podium is Scott Bugner, but it's 2 podiums and a 4th place for Scott Bugner. Jack Smith, though, taking the win of the feature race. Andy Carroll in 2nd, Chris Blakey in 3rd position, Scott Bugner 4th. Josh Martin took 5th from Oliver Gibson and Thomas Potter, with Eric Axelson in 8th. It'll probably become his drop score, Eric Axelson. Lee Piercy in 9th from Adam Lyle, Paul Laramie, Daniel Heaps next up from Christian Gilliam, then Harry Ormerod, Ivan Krzyzewska in 15th, then Andy Dorman, Alex Walker and John Jones in 18th position. Wrapping up our race action here at the Norisring, and we'll have a word with our winners in just a couple of minutes. Well, the end of the race came very quickly on that one.
Wow, wasn't it?
What? Understood.
Yeah, I thought. Yeah, only the right rear went yellow. Everything else is green. Yeah.
That was a really good event. We got a new championship leader as well, I see.
Are we?
So, what a great evening we've had. We were just reflecting while the advert was running on what a super evening we've had. And, well, hopefully a good evening for the man who finished in 3rd position, Chris Blakey. Well done, Chris. Good race.
Hi guys, again. Last few laps were a bit gutting because obviously I opted to start softs and go for mediums at the end, and seeing Jack drive past me, I was like, oh, I didn't do enough to get the gap, but just kept on plodding on. But then I made a mistake and I clipped the right going into the chicane, the first corner. And if you clip that, it just sends your front bumper red. Which has an aero thing of about 2 or 3 miles an hour down the straight. So I was just waiting for Andy and Scott to come past, but they caught me, and Andy got past me, but managed to hold on to 3rd, thankfully. So yeah, it was a good race. Good race.
Excellent. And a very difficult circuit. And I think that's been reflected in the fact that we've had different folk on the podium at different times as well.
Oh yeah, definitely. It's a very difficult circuit. For only 4 corners, it's just there is no room for error. Not an inch. There's no runoff. There's no gravel. The curbs will kill you, and the walls will just scrub time off you. So it's very simple but very difficult.
So you get a podium in the feature race on a difficult track like this. I'm not saying that Zandvoort is easier, but it's a more traditional track. Is it a relief to be going back to a more traditional configuration after this?
Yes, I'm just trying to remember Zandvoort. Yeah. Zandvoort is quite a challenge because obviously there is a lot more undulation and back corners at that. So it's a much faster circuit. So get my head back into the game for that one. Be nice to go back to that one though.
Excellent. Well done. You're still, just having a look championship-wise, you've maintained your championship position, so still in 6th position in the standings as we head virtually to the Netherlands in the next round. But Chris Blakey, well done. Cracking weekend. Always a pleasure to chat to you, and thank you and well done for a great evening's racing.
Lovely. Thank you very much, guys. Bye.
Well done, Chris.
So 2nd position goes to Andy Carroll. Well done, Andy. And last lap move there. You were working hard right the way from the start and right the way to the flag to get that 2nd place.
Yeah, it was started in the mid pack, so I wasn't sure what strategy to do, whether to go softs first and then mediums at the end, but decided sort of to go the other way around and started on the mediums. Did about 12 laps, I think, on those, and then just had to come out and just keep push, and see where it netted out. And I think, yeah, I sort of ended up net fourth, but managed to get Scott and Chris in the last few laps, which was nice. So I think they were both must have both been on mediums, because I caught them both up fairly rapidly, and yeah, nice to get on the podium.
That was good. I think Scott was on soft and Chris was on medium. Chris certainly was on medium. I think Scott was saying he was going to drive with elbows out. And one of the comments I made was that you sort of flew past him. Is it a teammate thing, or because he said he was going to be?
So. I hope there was a team element to it. So yeah, I would hope. Yeah, that was elbows out apart from me. I hope. But yeah, it's such a difficult track to overtake, but I think I just had a good run on him out of the last corner, and managed to just outbrake him into T1. So
yeah.
So
good result. I mean, he's done well as well. Obviously, with fourth position, he's just one place shy of 3 podiums around here, which is, I think, would have been a huge ask at the start of it. Jack did the similar strategy to yourself. Maybe pitted a little bit earlier. Jack Smith and yourself, so that might have been the difference at the end.
Yeah, I messed up on the fuel. I didn't put much in at the beginning, and then what I didn't realise is that it is possible for the fuel to take longer than the tyres in these cars, because I'd put in, I think for my second stint, I put in 25 litres, and that left me, my tyres were changed, and I was sat there for another sort of 3 or 4 seconds waiting for the fuel to go in.
Yeah.
So I probably should have put in another 5 litres at the start and just topped it up. But so I lost sort of a few seconds, but yeah, I don't think it would have. It might have got me halfway to Jack, but it definitely wouldn't have got me close enough.
Fair enough. We haven't seen as much of you as we would like on the campaign so far. Are you around for the rest of the series, or you've been busy with work, or what's the shout?
Just bad timing. I think when the original schedule came out, I was going to do all rounds, and then I think the first round ended up being my daughter's birthday, so I couldn't really talk my way into that round. And then I had 2 weeks off on holiday, which clashed with 2 rounds. So yeah, I've only done 2 rounds out of the 5 so far, but I will definitely be here for the last 3.
Well, we have missed you, and it's great to have you back, and great to get you on the podium. Well done on P2 in our feature race.
Thank you.
Well done, Andy. So Andy Carroll takes second position in our feature race this evening. Great to have him back with us at VRRC. And our race winner, strategy played out really well there. Jack Smith, well done, Jack. Congratulations. And I think with it, you get the championship lead now by 2 points. So that's actually all switched around quite remarkably this evening, isn't it?
Yeah, I definitely didn't expect to be leading championship out of those after those first 2 races, especially. I thought, yeah, I was a bit washed. But then again, it was only a 10th in quali, so I mean, yeah, it's not really much to complain about there. But yeah, I risked it a bit with the strategy. I don't know whether the tyres would actually make it or not, but yeah, it paid off. I tried to be as smooth as I could with the rears, and there's not many high speed corners around it, so I thought, we'll see how it goes. I'm sure it won't wear down that fast, and yeah, it turned out quite well.
It's weird. The racing format is absolutely fascinating for someone who. A lot of the purists just like the fastest off the front racing, but reverse grids give you so much more to look at, particularly when you've got stop strategies to come in as well. And we look at the results that have happened so far. You've had 3 pole positions, and then the meeting where you don't do so well in qualifying because you're carrying. I'm guessing I was going to ask you the ballast question and ask Oliver as well, but obviously we haven't had a chance to talk to Oliver on the podium this evening. So two points to that is. One is, how much of a hindrance is the vast levels of ballast that you're carrying around the Norisring, and the second thing is how nice is it to get, maybe because the qualifying didn't work out for you, it kind of came better slightly in the reverse grid because you were still quite a fair way back. But that's the sort of first feature win you've had, isn't it? You've been very consistent on points, but it's your first feature win of the series.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, for the ballast bit, I think. To be honest, I didn't even want to try it just to see it. Every time I try with no ballast, it makes me really sad that I often then go back to 37 kg or whatever I'm on. So yeah, I didn't try it this time, but every time I get in the car and I'm on the server, I just forget that ballast exists, and I just try to go for the time regardless. So that's how I'd seem to look at things at the minute. But yeah, with the feature race, yeah, I think it worked out well for this one. For sure, like getting points early on in the first race, maybe the second race and such would be helpful. But yeah, I think being around the middle is ideal, really, because I definitely didn't expect to get maximum points from this round, and I've come away with a race win right at the end. With the strategy I stole off Eric from the last race, by the way, when he pitted early. So I took that to note and then used it in this race, and it's worked. So yeah,
it didn't work for Eric though, did it? In this one, he was like that's actually Eric's worst finish of the campaign. Yeah. Okay. Ah. Okay.
Oh,
Right. Right. Thanks for that, Rich. So yeah, it's and again that it comes back to what I was saying, swings and roundabouts, isn't it, on the round? So Jack, you've got the championship lead now. We're just looking at the table: 205 points, Oliver on 203, and Eric on 200, and Scott on 151. So all close, exactly as we want to see it. You know, it's. I don't know if I want it that close at the end because everyone's going to expect me to do the maths when we're at the Nurburgring, and I'm not very good at the maths when it comes to this kind of stuff.
yeah.
We need Andy McEwen. Yeah, he's very good at it.
It reminds me of the MX5 Championship ages ago with Jack McIntyre and Eric as well. So this would be a good time.
Yeah, I'm gonna have to get my act together for that. But Jack, great to finally get to have a natter with you this evening, and well done on a splendid win. Thanks for entertaining us, and well done on getting the championship lead back.
Yeah, cheers, Richard.
Congratulations on that. Well done. Thanks for entertaining us. We've got to mention our driver of the day. I don't think we're going to get a chance to talk to our driver of the day on the podium as well. But driver of the day is Scott Bugner, second one of the series for Scott. I don't know if he's around. If not, I think he's probably disappeared. But congratulations to Scott Bugner on that 1-3 of a screed that he was there. Just shy of that podium. Would have been even better if he'd have had 3 podiums, but 2 podiums and a 4th. Absolutely mega result. I need to thank Thomas Merritt for being excellent company, as our other co-commentators have been over the course of this series. Thomas, have you enjoyed it? I've certainly enjoyed working with you.
Yeah, no, it's been a really fun evening. The driving has been awesome to watch, and the racing has certainly entertained me. I'm sure it has with you as well. Just want to say thank you for this opportunity. Thank you to Rich and thank you, Richard. It's been a pleasure, and hopefully I'll be back soon.
I think we'll certainly have you back, as we have with Henry and Alicia. I want to wish Alicia Palmowski well. I think we were down from the audio perspective at the start, but our first guest commentator, Alicia Palmowski, if you haven't heard, is a wildcard entry for F1 Academy this weekend at Qatar. We wish her well and look forward to her joining us as a co-commentator as well. Only the very best people we have co-commentating with us here. It's worked out really well. I think the invitations, I'm so glad that they've been accepted by the people that joined us. Thomas, thanks so much. Look forward to seeing you continue your journey up the motor racing ladder next year, and hopefully we'll get a chance to commentate with you again before then anyway. So Thomas Merritt, thanks ever so much. Thanks to Rich Hayden, who's been at the helm and the controls of the event. From myself, Richard, John Neal, a big thank you for watching. Thanks everyone for entertaining us. Be nice to each other as ever. We'll see you next week when we are racing virtually at Zandvoort. Take care. Bye for now. Yeah, superb job.
Thank you. Yeah, no, really enjoyed it. Thanks for the opportunity.
Pleasure.
Yeah.
Between the two of them, the inside of coats, Barker gets too heavily involved, and that's Whitehead and Coates.
Okay.
I'll try and get that photo of you and we'll get the first front on again. Yeah, a bit of fun for the winter.
Thank you.
Top job again, well done. And give my best wishes to Mum as well. Yeah, okay, mate. I'll catch up with you, Rich, in the week, yeah? Yeah, brilliant. Okay, I'll speak to you then. Thanks so much, mate. Take it easy. Bye-bye.